Hi class, today we are going to study viscoelasticity and performance of a biomaterial. Now, viscoelasticity, often I get definitions that a material that is viscous and elastic is viscoelastic. That is not true. So let us see what exactly is viscoelasticity and then we'll move on to how a biomaterial performs. Now, when a material is suddenly strained and then the strain is maintained constant afterwards, then the corresponding stresses induced in the body decreases with time. Now, this phenomena is called as stress relaxation or relaxation for short. That what they are trying to say is initially there's a strain that is induced suddenly, and that strain is maintained constant for a period of time. So over a period, the body gets used to that strain being around, so the corresponding stresses that is induced on the body would reduce because the body is now used to having that force around it or that phenomenon around it. So this way, the body actually relaxes. It is in equilibrium. So that is called a stress relaxation. So if the material is suddenly stressed and then the stress is maintained constant afterwards, then the body would continue to deform. And this phenomenon is called as the creep. So initial for relaxation it was the strain, initial sudden strain and then the constant strain that was maintained. However, stress is force. So if there is a sudden force and the same force is actually maintained for a period of time, then the body would slowly deform. For example, you're holding a wine glass which is very delicate. Now you're pressing it with a certain force and you continue to press with the same particular force, not more, not less. Then at some point the glass will break. So that is the deformation of the glass. That is the deformation of the shape, and that is called as the creep. Now, if a material is subjected to cyclic loading, then the stress-strain relationship in the loading process is somewhat different from the unloading process. So there's a loop between the loading and unloading, and that is the hysteresis loop. So hysteresis, relaxation, and creep collectively are called as the features of a viscoelastic material. Now, this is just a generic curve to make you understand exactly what is hysteresis. If there's a linear relationship between stress and strain, then the material is not viscoelastic. However, if the hysteresis graph is like the shape of a leaf, then or if there's a loop, the loading is different, the path of loading is different from the path of unloading, then that is a hysteresis curve. Now, the success of an implant not only depends upon the material property of the implant, its design, its biocompatibility, but it also depends upon a certain phenomena that are beyond an engineer's control. Now, this could include the technique used by the surgeon, the health condition of the patient, and the activities of the patient. Now, we are not trying to tell here that we are not talking about a surgeon with a dodgy surgical technique. We are talking about, it could probably be a very complicated surgery where, even a tiny mistake can be catastrophic, right? Okay, so it's that kind of surgery that we are talking about. So although the implant is very nicely engineered, the technique used to implant the device into a particular section of the body is very complicated. So that might result in failure of the implant. Now, a person is hale and healthy while they're getting into the operation theater. However, halfway through the surgery, if their vital parameters are somewhat, wavering, then there are chances that, the patient might not like the implant in their body. So that is another sign of rejection. Also, occasionally, patients are advised to take rest for a certain period of time before they can resume their normal activities. Not many patients obey this. So, based on their activities, the implant may be subjected to, um, unacceptable loading and unloading conditions because of which the implant might fail. So if we want to assign a numerical value for the probability of failure, say f, then the reliability of implant R, the probability of reliability of implant is R is equal to 1 minus F. So, if there are multiple cases, multiple reasons for failure, then the total reliability is the product of all the individual reliabilities corresponding to the individual failure. So, even if one failure mode, such as fracture, is like perfectly controlled and the corresponding reliability is close to unity as possible, there are still chances of failure modes such as infection to creep in, and that would severely limit the overall reliability of the implant. Another mode of failure could be the body's immune response. Some people have autoimmune disorder, and it is very, very difficult to implant on them because already the body itself thinks that it's already the WBC inside the body itself thinks that certain cells in the body are foreign and they attack. So in that case, if you put something from outside, then that is definitely going to get attacked. So body's immune response is another mode of failure. So such failure mode is an unwanted effect of the implant on the body. For example, it can lead to toxicity, it can lead to allergic reactions or carcinogenesis. So biocompatibility is included as a material requirement in addition to those requirements associated directly with the function of the implant. So therefore, it had the again and again we just come back to biocompatibility, don't we? But that is very very important. No matter like if the material is totally inert and very very biocompatible, then at least you can reduce the unwanted effects such as toxicity, allergic reaction, and carcinogenesis to a greater extent. So, failure mode may also differ in importance as time passes. For example, the risk of infection is very, very high as soon as the surgery. But if you've taken good care of your wound and if your wounds healed nicely, then the chances of infection reduces. However, over a period of time, when you're just using your implant, then loosening of the implant or implant fracture becomes more and more significant. Chances of loosening of the implant or implant fracture is more likely than infection itself. Now, failure mode would also depend on the type of implants and its location and function in the body. For example, an artificial blood vessel is more likely to induce a thrombus than breaking or tearing mechanically. Breaking or tearing mechanically is something that is taken care of because you know that if you're replacing a natural blood vessel, you would know exactly what force the blood vessel is undergoing or what the blood vessel undergoes on a day-to-day basis. So based on that, you're choosing your material. However, there is still a chance that this artificial blood vessel might induce a clot or become clogged with a thrombus when compared to a normal blood vessel because of physiological reactions. I think that's all we have time in this session. I hope you had a fruitful session learning about viscoelasticity and performance of biomaterial. I shall see you soon in another lecture. Thank you very much.